Hello, everybody. Welcome back for this third episode of XCOM Enemy Unknown. The XCOM crew is aboard the Sky Ranger on their way to the Nigerian wilderness, where an alien ship has crash landed after being shot down at the end of our last episode. We're happy to see two soldiers, Robinson and Romero, come back after missing the last mission, thanks to wounds they received in our first episode. Both of them were also able to undergo the training they needed to take on the responsibilities that come with the promotions they received. Romero, in particular, has earned the respect of her fellow soldiers during her recuperation. She was laid up for the first couple of days after she got hurt, but as soon as they allowed her to get up out of bed, she was practicing at the rifle range every minute they let her stay up. Her last day of hospitalization, she was so focused on what she was doing at the range, they had to send some MPs around to bring her back to her room. That said, there is still the question of how she'll react to being on the battlefield again. She was very nearly killed last time out, and although she stayed in the fight at the time and has trained hard since, you just can't know what toll that experience might have taken on her until she faces enemy fire. I've got to say, though, with what I've seen out of her so far, my money is on Romero all the way. And, of course, all of this goes for Robinson as well. Although he wasn't hurt as badly as Romero, we'll keep an eye on him just the same. And that's probably enough chit-chat about what happened back at the base for the moment. Let's go ahead and focus on what the team is up to right now. Obviously, they are moving forward through the woods, looking for either the crashed ship itself or any sign of aliens patrolling the area. So far, all is quiet. So, of course, no sooner do I say that than two aliens make the scene. Romero gets off a shot with her pistol, and she manages to wound one of them. It's not a lot of damage, but who's to say it won't make a difference before this battle is over. She doesn't have a great shot where she's at, so she moves forward for a better angle, which she does in fact have. The problem is, taking a shot with the pistol from behind half cover, there's a very good chance two aliens are still going to be alive to return fire, and she's not quite that foolish. Unfortunately, I don't think any of them have a particularly good angle from where they're at. LaFave is going to go ahead and move forward to see if she can improve her chances, but still less than a 50-50 chance. Cook moves forward, and he knows he still doesn't have a shot. So he turtles up, and most of the rest of the squad is going to do the same thing. We'll see if the aliens give him any openings here in a second. It looks like one of the sectoids is getting ready to fire, and he goes right after Romero. Well, if we wanted to see how she responds to enemy fire, I guess we won't have to wait long. Cook doesn't have an especially good shot with his rifle, but he's going to check to see if he could do any damage with his rocket. It looks like he can take both of them out if he needs to. And that puts the soldiers in control of this engagement. They know they can take a shot and not have to worry about being exposed behind half cover. Because if any of the sectoids are still alive when the shooting stops, Cook can just mop up. And actually, he's also going to verify, yes, he can take out that one with a grenade only. So they have a couple of different ways to end this. Looks like the honor of the first shot goes to Romero. She looks down the sights, and she puts him down. Yeah, there's your answer, folks. Her hands were shaking so badly, she was barely able to put that bullet right between his eyes. LaFave is up next, and she considers using her grenade, but decides to take the shot instead. This way we at least have a chance to bring back weapon fragments for Dr. Valen. But she did not have as good an angle as Romero did, in all fairness to her, and she is not able to cash it in. Cook, on the other hand, he is not going to mess around here. That is one dead alien.
Eyes peeled, Commander.
There are undoubtedly more aliens nearby, but in the meantime, that's 2 up, 2 down, and no squad members so much as wounded. An excellent start to the mission. And speaking of other aliens being nearby, they immediately hear exactly that. So they'll start moving in that direction and see what they can find.
Overwatch. Aye, aye.
And interesting that no sooner do they start heading in the direction they heard the last sound from, then the next one comes from a pretty different direction. You know, if you didn't know better, you'd almost think the aliens were teleporting around instead of walking. But at least it looks like they're headed in the right direction now. That appears to be the ship just up ahead. So they'll move forward and see what is to be seen. You know, the obvious part of an XCOM soldier's job that everybody thinks of first are the firefights. But I have to tell you, this phase is among the most important. They must maintain discipline and inch forward when they're moving around like this. They never know when their next step will reveal an alien around the corner. A little bit like that. With both sectoids behind cover and more or less straight ahead, it doesn't seem likely anybody's going to have a great shot, but Romero checks. Cook is interested in seeing what damage he can do with a rocket, but unlike last time, he's just a little out of range, and he's going to need to move forward to be effective with that. Robinson is going to go ahead and move over to one side in the hopes that he can at least start on working on a flanking approach. And then he'll turtle up and go into hunker down mode. The rest of the team follows suit. No need to expose themselves to plasma fire here. I guess the aliens must have been relatively happy with their position because they didn't move much. And Cook immediately checks to see if he's in rocket range, and he is, so he takes the shot, and boom! He puts him down. Now, I do love a good explosion, so I hate to admit this, but that probably was a tactical error on Cook's part. There was just no reason to not let his squad mates take shots with the machine guns first and at least have a chance to recover weapon fragments. He could have easily mopped up if needed after that. But that said, who doesn't enjoy a good fireworks show? And as they approach the craft, let's go to Dr. Valen and ask her opinion on its condition.
To withstand an impact like that, at such a velocity, the materials used in that vessel's hull must be at least an order of magnitude beyond any element we know of.
Thank you, Dr. Valen. So I think what she's saying is that a race of alien beings capable of traveling between planets has technology that's superior to ours. Wow, that is an eye-opening observation indeed. The XCOMers really don't know what's waiting for them inside this ship. It could be a sectoid that's piloting it, or it could be something else, something we haven't seen yet. In an effort to try and get the best positioning they can, they're going to cover 2 different entry points in here. The idea is that almost no matter where the alien is inside, they'll have a decent chance of getting a flanking angle on them.
Our readings can't be right. If they were, that's a being of almost pure energy.
Then again, the readings could be right, considering that while he was materializing out of thin air, he certainly looked a lot like energy. Romero, on the other hand, is not going to concern herself with such philosophical concerns right now. She's going to throw a grenade in pursuit of tactics that are becoming standard XCOM procedure. This way, she not only wounds the alien, she breaks down his cover as much as possible, and that leaves all three of her squad mates open to get the best shots they possibly can to end this. Up to this point, Robinson's been pretty quiet today, but he gets ready to go in, lines up the shot with his shotgun, and he nails him. Wow, that was a great performance by the squad today. 5 for 5 on aliens and did not take a single wound themselves. And on top of that, if either Romero or Robinson are suffering any ill effects from the wounds they received in the first mission, there's certainly no sign of that. So they head back to base winners. And we'll see in a second if any of them earned a promotion. And yes, Cook and Lefebvre both have that honor. It probably should be pointed out, Lefebvre didn't actually have any kills today or in her one other mission. But as a rookie, the general rule of thumb is if they manage to survive their first 2 missions and not humiliate themselves, they go ahead and get a promotion. And she's been assigned as a support specialist, so hopefully she'll be even more helpful to the squad going forward. And with the team safely back at base, the first thing the commander does is sell off the damaged computer and power source they recovered from the UFO. They won't help him in any way, and he can use the money. Next up, he starts excavating the last remaining spot on the upper floor. He has quite a few facilities that'll need to be built, and he'll need that space. The lab is close to finishing alien materials, but rather than wait for that, he's suspending the research to start beam weapons. He is bound and determined to get laser weapons for the soldiers just as soon as he can.
Excavation complete.
And no sooner is the excavation complete than there's several more instances of abduction. The commander is going to have a strong predisposition to go to Brazil so he can get those engineers. His need for more of them is pretty desperate. He was very pleased with the performance of the unit on this last mission and doesn't really feel any need to tinker with the composition of the group. So they load up in the Sky Ranger and they are on their way. In today's episode, you saw the XCOMers take on the alien menace in the middle of a deserted forest. The next time out, we head to Fortaleza, Brazil, where they'll be forced to do the same thing in a much more populated area. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you next time.
Get down there and eliminate any hostiles.